My name is Rashad Ali. I'm a resident senior fellow at the Institute for Strategic Dialogue. My research interests include radicalization, but also de-radicalization initiatives, and I work both as a practitioner and as a researcher in the field.
What are the goals of Hizb ut-Tahrir?
So Hizb ut-Tahrir is a revolutionary Islamist party. They want to establish a caliphate, an Islamic state in the Muslim majority countries, and then they want that state to expand until it encompasses every single Muslim majority country and unifies all those into one global superstate.
And where are they active?
So they're active across Muslim majority countries. They started off in the Palestinian territories, moved out to Jordan, Syria. They are active in trying to establish power in the Arab countries and Turkey. And they've been active across Central Asia, Europe and the West for some time, but they're not trying to establish power in these countries. They just want to spread their message, ideology, and gain support for their cause.
Why are they different from other Islamist groups?
So when people think of Islamist groups, they tend to think of Muslim Brotherhood type organizations. These are ones that have an Islamic agenda or an Islamist agenda, and they want to have some kind of influence on politics. They often take part in the democratic process. They often try to gain seats in parliament, or they even try to have governance in certain places, and have succeeded in doing so. Hizb ut-Tahrir are different. They're revolutionaries. They believe in having a vanguardist party, creating change in society, infiltrating the military and having a military coup to bring about their first state. And then hopefully they believe that there'll be a radical domino effect, and then other states will fall, much like the Arab Spring, but just in reverse.
Are they connected to other Islamist groups?
So no, interestingly, unlike the other Islamist movements which tend to cooperate, like Jamaat-e-Islami and Ikhwan al-Muslimin, the Brotherhood and the Islamic Party in Pakistan, they will work together. Hizb ut-Tahrir won't work with other organizations, primarily because they see compromise as being fundamentally unacceptable at ideological and political level.
And what kind of Islamist ideology is behind HT?
So with HT, the thing is that they have a very distinct ideology. It's closer to communism with an Islamized form. So the founder of HT was a Ba'athist, so Arab National Socialist. So they have this idea of a big state, with a visionary of the state organizing the economy in a certain way, planning the economy in a certain way, and then enforcing their specific, very medieval interpretations of particular schools of thought which they want to bring about in society.
Are goals on the international, global level more important to HT, or the results on the local level?
So they have both. Their global aims are to establish an Islamic state in one country and expand, but in their local level they will decide what their aims are. So like in Germany, they will have a goal to have four things, or four goals, which is A, make sure the Muslim community doesn't have a sense of belonging to Germany, but belongs to the Muslim nation in Muslim countries. They will want to make sure they stick by what they see as their rules of Sharia, so not take part in political process. Have a connection to the caliphate when it arises. So they want the Muslim communities here to band together for a caliphate and call for it so that it helps their opinion. And they have this idea of making sure that their identity is preserved as distinctly Muslim or Islamist from their perspective.
They do not cooperate with other groups, but the other way around. Are they an example for other Islamist groups?
So the difference is, I guess, they will now share platforms. They might talk on similar issues in the West, but they don't work alongside strategically or tactically other groups. When it comes to other Islamist groups, they will do so. They will try to reach out to other organizations. This is what differentiates them, and also it's a weakness. It's why actually they are not as influential as they would like to believe that they are.
Are they stronger in the West, or are they stronger in Muslim majority countries?
So in most Muslim majority countries, they've been repressed for a very, very long time. Unfortunately, they've been tortured and persecuted, and this is obviously quite horrific. But it means they have very little influence. We saw at the Arab Spring time, liberals, secularists, Islamists from broad spectrum had influence. Hizb ut-Tahrir were nowhere on that scene, whether it was Syria, whether it was Egypt, whether it was Tunis, whether it's now in Algeria, and very little influence. The ideas, though, have had a very negative influence. So even though the group is not there, the concept of caliphate, which is one state without borders, enforcing Sharia punishments, fighting to expand the state, because they don't believe in any diplomatic relations with other Muslim countries. they believe in forcefully expanding the state, has had a significant impact on groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. So their vision is the same as ISIS's vision of an Islamic state.
And compared to those other groups, would you say how important is HT compared to other groups?
So I think the ideology is important and understanding the influence is important, because these people reject democracy and democratic participation. They reject human rights. They reject any type of integration in wider society. So it's very regressive for communities. In terms of this ideology, though, the ideology has been successful to the extent that we've seen thousands of people go and join ISIS. Now, ISIS were not propagandizing in the UK, in Germany, in Denmark, up until they were established. But the idea of an Islamic state, like ISIS's vision, was already there. And that vision only comes from groups like Hizb ut-Tahrir, Muhajirun, and they're the only people that have spread that ideology.